Welcome everybody. This is gonna be a lecture on melanin. I titled this "Melanin Lecture by a Dummy" because, relatively speaking, compared to people who are experts in this subject matter, I'm a dummy. I'm just a normal guy like anybody else. I'm a layman. I just did nominal research, and I'm just providing you guys a brief lecture on melanin. So, give me a second here. Let me share my screen with you guys. You guys can see that. Uh, and the reason why I want to talk about this topic is because there's a there's a certain stigma that's attached to people who are quote unquote black or being of darker skin hue. It's frowned upon. It seems like the whiter you are, the more pale skinned you are, the more respect that you garner. And I want to just here. All right. So the title of this lecture, and sorry about the noise in the background. People are cutting my lawn, so that's what you guys are hearing right now. The lawnmowers doing their jobs. All right, so let's get started. This lecture is going to be about melanin, as you can see. And if you can't see the title, my uh, my picture here is blocking it, but I put down there the divine worth of planetary gods. I believe that the one mistake that we've made about our people and about our kind is to look past the divine essence of what melanin truly is. And it's not just about it being dark skinned. It's much, much deeper than that. Okay. All right. So the lecture contents of this lecture about melanin is that we're going to first have to define what melanin is. I think that's important. You just don't want to jump into a lecture without defining what the subject matter is. The subject matter with this lecture is melanin. So we're going to define that. We're going to talk about the different types of melanin because melanin is not just comprised of one thing. It entails many things, different types of melanin, and different types of melanin, you know, exhibits in different physical traits, meaning that one type of melanin is going to show one way and another type is going to show another way. So it's very important that we describe the different types. A lot of the times when you talk to Caucasian people and you say, you lack melanin, they say, no, we all have melanin. That's melanin just means your skin color. Yes, it means that. But there's layers and there's levels to this. There's levels to melanin. Just like you have amateur basketball and amateur sports and you have professional sports, same thing with melanin. There are levels to melanin. And we're going to talk about the different types of melanin. Next, we're going to talk about where melanin is produced. Where is it produced? And where do we see it? Where do we see it manifest in the concrete, in the physical? Where do we see melanin produced? All right. And we're going to talk about the significance of melanin, the importance of it. Why is melanin so important? And then I'm going to finalize the lecture with a summary, wrap it all up in a nice little bow. Hopefully after that, we have a little bit more insight about um, the importance and the significance of melanin and why. And again, the title of this video is Melanin Lecture by a Dummy. I'm a dummy, relatively speaking, to anyone out there who's an expert on this content. I'm not posing to be an expert. I'm not a PhD. I don't have a doctorate. I don't have anything. I'm just a normal guy in front of a camera that loves to research and loves to read stuff, and I'm just giving you information that I have. I may not have all the nuances. I'm going to try to explain it the best way I can, and I'm going to explain it the way that I would want a person to explain it to me. I have a dummy mindset, so I'm open-minded to receive information. I don't need things to be broken down to the point where it's so when people use so many big words, it gets so complex, and you're like scratching your head, like, what does that mean? And as I go through this lecture, if I'm gonna say words that you don't know, and I'm gonna look them up right in front of you. So this is sort of like it's not so much of me teaching you, is that we are learning together. I'm just the host, I'm just the facilitator, and we're just learning together. All right, so let's get into this lecture about melanin. All right, give me a second here. Make sure all my things are set. Let me make sure everything's working all right. Notes, here we go. All right, here we go. All right. Okay, so what is melanin? All right, what is melanin? Melanin is a natural pigment of the skin that determines the color of hair, skin, and eyes. Is a natural pigment of the skin that determines your physical outlook. So the physical outlook, as you can see on with the illustrations that you see on this slide, what you see on the outside is a manifestation of what's going on the inside. Okay, the outside is the evidence to prove to you what's already going on in the inside. Okay, so that's what it is. Melanin is a natural pigment of the skin that determines the color of hair, skin, and eyes. All right, hair, skin, and eyes. All right, next. In humans, the pigment melanin is primarily responsible for skin color, although it is also found in hair, iris tissue. Iris tissue is in your eye, and blood vessels in the inner ear. So now it's talking about the inward things. First of all, it's telling you how it looks on the outside and is going in. But I would argue it's not even an argument. The most significant part is what's going on in the inside. The evidence of what's going on in the inside is shown symptomatically or physically or through phenotype on the outside. Okay. In addition, the pigment melanin is also found in the tissues of the brain. So now it's going further in. All right. It's found in the brain, spinal cord, nerve cells, adrenal glands, and some other organs in the body. So, in other words, melanin is not just something that's shown on the outside of a person's skin. You see somebody say, oh, that person's black, they have melanin. Yes, they do have melanin, but they're also different layers of melanin and different parts of melanin that are going on in the inside, in the brain, in the midbrain, the adrenal glands, the blood tissues, and the blood vessels, on and on. All right. And all of this is produced by what they call melanocytes. All right. Melanocytes, excuse me, melanocytes. And these are the things that stimulate the activity to spur on, to spew forth the melanin that's actually shown on the outside of the physical part of the body. All right. Even my black beard is due to the melanocytes. All right. What you see me, the way I look, is the way I look because it's something that's being activated within me. All right. So it's produced by melanocytes. All right, moving along. And again, melanocytes are aggregates of smaller melanin cells of varying proportions and alignment. Therefore, melanin is divided into different types and different roles and tasks in the body. Okay, now I know that's a big word that I said. I said melanocytes are aggregates. So I'm going to stop right here. I'm going to go to Google. All right. So we can see what the word aggregates means. All right. Aggregates. Aggregates. All right. Stop sharing. I'm going to go back to sharing. All right. All right. Aggregate. Okay. Aggregate. See the word aggregate there? Aggregate. All right. Definition one, it's a noun. So it's a person, place, or thing. It's a thing. It's an aggregate. It's a melanocytes. Melanocytes. Am I saying that right? Melanocytes. Excuse me. Melanocytes are aggregates of smaller melanin cells. So an aggregate is a noun. It's a person, place, or thing. It's a thing. It's a noun. It's a whole form of combining several typical disparate elements. So then the second definition says a material structure formed by loosely compared mass, fragments of particles. So in other words, melanocytes are fragments and particles of a smaller melanin cells. So smaller melanin cells are already small, but these are like smaller portions of the smaller melanin cells, if that makes any sense. So that's how small melanocytes are. Melanocytes are very tiny, all right? Subatomic particles, very, very tiny. Okay, so that's what the term aggregate means. So if you ever heard somebody say aggregate, it just means something that's really small, a smaller part of something that's already small. Okay, so that's what that means. All right, so I'm going to get back to my get back to the lecture, to the lecture PowerPoint. All right, here we go. All right. All right, moving along. All right, so these are the different types of melanin. All right, it's very important that we break this down. We already said that it's something that starts within, in the inside, and it manifests itself on the outside, right? And it's stimulated, it's all produced by melanocytes. And its melanocytes are smaller aggregates. What did I say the aggregate meant? It means what? Say it. A smaller portion of a smaller cell. So an aggregate, in other terms of it, is a subatomic particle. It's subatomic because you can't see it with the naked eye. All right. So now these are the different types of melanin that are all produced by, say it, class, melanocytes. Again, melanocytes is what produces melanin. All right. So these are the different types of melanin. You have eumelanin. All right. You have pheomelanin. Pheomelanin. You have neuromelanin. Neuromelanin is one of the most important types of melanin because it's neurologically based. Neuromelanin, all right? Then you have allomelanin, and then last but not least, you have pyomelanin. We're going to break these different types of melanins down, all right? So stay with me, all right? Okay. First, let's break down eumelanin, all right? Eumelanin, it is an inert pigment which can efficiently absorb UV light as it is present in the epidermis. It is an inert pigment. An inert pigment means it's an inside pigment. The term inert means inside the pigment. It's not so much on the epidermis. The epidermis is the skin, epi. All right, that's the first layer. You have epidermis, then you have the dermis, which is the mid layer. Then you have the hypodermis, which is the bottom layer. You can't see the hypodermis. That's more connected to the melanocytes that produces the melanin. Because remember, everything starts from the inside. So it's saying here that eumelanin, it is an inert pigment which can efficiently absorb UV light. So it's inside. It's inside the brain. It's inside the body, and it can absorb UV light. What do I mean by UV light? I mean the sun. The same sun that the European world, the Western world has told you is bad for you. The same sun that they say stay out of the sun. The same sun that they tell you to wear sunscreen to block the sun from hitting your skin. The same sun that they tell you not to look at because if you look at it, you could go blind. In our culture, we have grown to the point where we have come to the realization that, hey, nature is evil. The sun is evil. We must get away from it. Yeah, the sun is good for certain things, but towards us, it's bad. No, 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 no. Towards us, it's good. Toward our pale skin counterparts, it's bad. So we've been lied to about the sun. And in order to activate the eumelanin, it needs the absorption of UV light as it is present in the epidermis. All right, it's internal and external. So you need them both. Moving along, eumelanin. The amount of eumelanin in the interfollicular epidermis directly relates to skin color. What do I mean by interfollicular epidermis? Let's look that up. I know what it is, but I want us to look it up together so we're learning together, all right? This term right here, follicular epidermis. So let's look that up. Let's look that up. Interfollicular epidermis definition. Let me stop this, stop sharing here. Okay, let me share my screen again. Interfollicular epidermis. So there we go. All right, as you can see here, what does it say? It says interfollicular epidermis is the multi-layered epithelium that forms the outer layer of the skin. All right. So in other words, is the upper layer is multi-layered, but it's more so of the upper layer that forms the outer layer of the skin. All right. So let's break this down even more. What does epithelium mean? Epithelium. All right. I'm gonna type that into the Google search engine. All right, to figure out what it is. Epithelium. All right. Epithelial tissue is one of the four main types of body tissues found in your organs and covers internal and external surfaces of the body. So it's layered. You know, our bodies are layered. So it's not just your skin. There are different layers of your skin that keeps everything together with the tissues that are connected to the bone. Just like when you eat chicken, when you rip chicken off the bone, it's connected to the bone, but you're ripping the chicken, you're ripping the meat off the bone. So when you're talking about skin, it's not just skin on bone. It's skin with multi-layers. So when it talks about epithelial, it just means the multi-layers. But then in terms of this definition of eumelanin, it's talking about the epidermis, the outer layer, all right, which is actually the first layer. Your first layer of defense of your organs is your epidermis. You have the epidermis, you have the dermis, which is the mid, then you have the hypo, which is the first layer. So it's multi-layered. All right, just wanted you guys to understand what that is. So when you hear these terms, you're not just taken aback and be like, what the hell does he mean by that? I'm looking up these terms so we can understand what this actually is trying to tell us. All right. Remember, this is a melanin lecture by a dummy. I'm a dummy. I'm just looking things up just like you and I. We're doing this together. All right. So I'm not talking at you. I'm talking with you. Okay. I'm going to share my screen again. All right. So the amount of eumelanin in the interfollicular epidermis directly relates to skin color. Okay. So we understand that because that's what's seen on the skin as it's working through those multi-layers, the epithelial. All right. The epithelial layers. All right. Next, eumelanin, keratinocytes. Keratinocytes are the cells that carry eumelanin to the skin surface. All right. So black and brown are the two types of eumelanin present. So when somebody has black eyes, black skin, brown eyes, brown skin, brown hair, black eyes, they are rich with eumelanin. Remember, different layers. There are many Caucasians out there that don't have brown eyes. They don't have black eyes. They have green eyes, blue eyes, gray eyes, and we deem that to be beautiful. But little did you know that those different eye colors that are apart from black or brown are considered a genetic defect. Did you know that? Because light can only be absorbed with a darker color hue of an eye. So if you have a black eyes or brown eyes, you can absorb the UV light better. It penetrates your retina 40% more through your iris, through the pupils, and it stimulates the third and fourth ventricles of the brain, which actually stimulates neuromelanin, which we're going to get into in a couple of slides from here. So black and brown are beautiful because it's the essence of eumelanin. It says black and brown are the two types of eumelanin that are present. There's no other kind of eumelanin that's present. So different amount of eumelanin was observed in individuals with black or brown hair. All right. Blonde hairs are formed when black eumelanin is absent and brown eumelanin is present in trace amounts. So blonde hair is just a watered down version of eumelanin when brown eumelanin is present in trace amounts. So if black eumelanin is present, there's no way a person will have blonde hair. The only way a person would have blonde hair is if they have brown eumelanin, but the brown eumelanin has to be in trace amounts. What does the term trace amounts means? Yes, let's all use context clues. If it's in trace amounts, that means that it's in small amounts. It's not an abundant amount, because if it was abundant, the brown would equate to brown. But because it's in trace amounts, it has to be a diluted form of brown, which equates to being blonde. Blonde is like a softer brown, a softer version of a brown. It's like a light, super light brown, which is what converts to blonde. Brown, really super light, converts to blonde. All right. So you have to have trace. All right. Trace amounts of brown eumelanin to be converted to blonde hair. Okay. So that's eumelanin. That's the first type of melanin. Okay. Next, let's talk about pheomelanin. Pheomelanin. All right. It is also found in red hairs, feathers, and freckles. Now, pheomelanin is the melanin that most Caucasians have. Most what we call white people have. Most Caucasians have. They have pheomelanin. Most black people have eumelanin. Why? Because it's predicated on the two colors of black and brown. Pheomelanin is not the same as eumelanin. So when people say that melanin is all the same, no, it's not. It's broken down into different layers and different types. And the darker the melanin, the more powerful it is. The more diluted the melanin, the less powerful that it is. There's a difference. There's a reason for the distinctions. Things aren't just different because they're different. They're different because there's a cause to the difference. There's a reason for it. So pheomelanin is also found in red hairs, feathers, and freckles. As you can see the depiction, the illustration of the young lady on this PowerPoint, she has freckles, red hair. This is pheomelanin. It's not eumelanin. People with lots of pheomelanin are observed to have lighter skin tones. So pale-skinned people definitely have pheomelanin. Pale skin, white skin Europeans, they definitely have pheomelanin. Now, like eumelanin, this is where the comparisons with pheomelanin and eumelanin come into play. It says, like eumelanin, it is also present in the epidermis. So both eumelanin, and pheomelanin are both present in the epidermis. That's the evidence. The evidence is in the skin tone. So if you see a skin tone of a Caucasian, you have eumelanin. So when people say, oh, I'm melanated, we're all melanated. No, we're not. We're melanated, but use the right scientific terminology. Eumelanin is shown evident on the epidermis. Pheomelanin is also shown on the epidermis. The epidermis is the what? What did we say before? It's the outer layer of the skin. The mid layer is called the what? The dermis. The lower layer is called the what? Hypodermis. We're going to get into that a little bit later. So the significance, the comparison with the two, with pheomelanin and eumelanin, is that you can see the manifestations of it on the skin. The skin tells it. Because a person with light skin can't say, no, I have eumelanin. No, it doesn't, because the evidence shows that you don't have eumelanin. You have pheomelanin. Me, I can't go around telling people I have pheomelanin. My skin is not red. It's brown. I have eumelanin. My beard is brown. When I had hair, my hair was black. Black and brown hair. It's conceived from eumelanin. Red hair. Some blonde hair. We said blonde hair. No, you have trace amounts of brown eumelanin to have blonde hair. But in this case, for this illustration, for this lecture, this girl right here on the screen with red hair and freckles has pheomelanin. That's the evidence that proves that she has pheomelanin, because the color tells you what it is. Pheomelanin production can lower glutathione levels and increase melanocytes' susceptibility to genetic instability and DNA damage. I'm going to break that down to you for the layman, in layman terms. I'm going to let you understand what that means. What it's saying here is that the production of pheomelanin, which is the what color? The red color. All right. The red color, the lighter skin tone. It says the production of that can lower glutathione. Glutathione is actually what's needed to actually protect the skin. Okay? It can lower glutathione levels and increase melanocyte susceptibility to genetic instability and DNA damage. In other words, people who have a high degree of pheomelanin cannot absorb the UV rays as me and you can. That means that when they get underneath the sun, they burn, they hurt, they get sunburned, they need the sunblock. You as Black people don't need the sunblock, but you've been brainwashed to believe you need what they need. If you understand the biochemical differences between you and them, you will understand that what they sell to them is not for you. Same thing with the medical industry. The medicines that they disperse to them is not the medicine for you. As a matter of fact, this is not conjecture or theory, this is fact. The standard medical metrics that they use to measure what's healthy is taken from the Caucasian biochemistry. What do I mean by that? I'm going to explain that to you. It means that when they say that a human's level of whatever needs to be at this, they're not taking your biochemistry into consideration, Black man or Black woman. They're taking the Caucasian biochemistry. And therefore, there's a misaligned metrics that's there. Because what they're saying is that, what they're implying is that everyone is the same biochemically. That's not true. Molecularly, biochemically, we're different. So therefore, you cannot use one standard metric to be the gauge or the barometer of what's healthy and what's not healthy. There needs to be two different systems, a system for them and a system for us. So they can't stand underneath the sun. We can. DNA damage. It says it increased and increases melanocyte susceptibility to genetic instability. What did I tell you guys at the beginning? I says melanin is produced by melanocytes. These melanocytes are vital to melanin, right? So what this is saying about pheomelanin, a lighter version of eumelanin, which is more diluted than eumelanin, it's saying that it increases the susceptibility. That means that it increases the chances of genetic instability and DNA damage. Deoxyribonucleic acid damage. What damages DNA with people who have pheomelanin? The sun damages it, damages them. They wrinkle faster, their skin can't take it. It can't absorb the UV rays as the people with eumelanin can. That's just fact. That's just science. That's not racism. That's just science. The next type of melanin is called neuromelanin. You hear the word neuro, the base term neuro means neurons, nerves, neurons. That's what it means. And I hate that my picture here is blocking the caption down here, but I'm going to read it to you guys anyway. All right. So neuromelanin is a dark polymer pigment produced in specific populations of catecholaminergic neurons in the brain. It appears in greatest quantities in the human brain, in lesser amounts in some other non-human primates. Now, that definition that I got was from the internet, but I'm going to tell you why that definition is a little bit misleading. It says that it's in lesser amount in some non-human primates. Now, we're all humans, right? But scientifically speaking, many Caucasians have lesser forms of neuromelanin in their brains than we do. So does that mean that they're non-human primates? Well, I'm not saying that they're non-human primates, but I know that their DNA makeup is made up with a lot of monkey DNA. You know, contrary to popular belief, a lot of people think that black people came from monkeys. No, we didn't. If you look at the genes, the components of the genes, this is science that they're not going to tell you in school because it debunks that whole theory that we all came from monkeys. There's a predominant race that has more monkey DNA in them, and that's the Caucasians. They have less neuromelanin in their brain. But this definition kind of told on them. It's saying that they're non-human primates. The definition is calling them non-human primates by the definition alone. The definition says a dark polymer pigment produced in specific populations of catecholaminergic neurons in the brain. It appears in greatest quantities in the human brain, in lesser amounts in some other non-human primates. All human beings, both black and white, don't have the same amount of neuromelanin. As a matter of fact, scientifically speaking, if you cut open the brains of all black people and you cut open the brains of all white people, you will find a large amount of neuromelanin is in the brains of the black people. And I hate using the term black, but I have to use that because that's the only term that we understand, that we use to identify ourselves. I like to call ourselves melanated, but that becomes that people start to say we're all melanated and it gets all confusing. So I'm going to have to just use the term black. I hate using the word black because we're not really black, but I'm going to use it for the sake of this lecture. So the black people have a high degree of neuromelanin in their brain than the white people. The white people have lesser. So does that mean that these Caucasians are non-human primates? Or does it mean that they have primate DNA in them? You be the judge of that. Okay, you be the judge of that. So let me tell you something that's really important about neuromelanin. All right, without the function of the midbrain, without the function of the midbrain, we wouldn't be able to respond to threats or even move. Example would be if you accidentally put your hands on the stove, right? That immediate response is like, that's because of the midbrain. A lot of people who have dead brain neurons and the neurological receptors are not like clicking with the cells, there's no communication. A lot of people would just have their hands burn and not even realize it. The fact that you feel pain is a defense mechanism, is a safe symptom, is a self preserving symptom to preserve your life, to sustain your life. Because if you didn't know any better, if your midbrain was dysfunctional, your hand would just stay on the stove and your hand would just burn off. All right. The midbrain here is what lets you jerk your hand back. As I said, the midbrain is what controls your motor movement and reflexes. It's letting you respond appropriately to situations like that. Why do you think this is not a theory? This is something you can see with your own damn eyes. Why do you think athletes, most of our quick twitch fiber athletes who can respond quickly to things, especially football players, running backs, quick? Why do you think their responses are so quick? Why do you think whenever we see somebody who's not black, of a different race, we're shocked? We're like, oh my God. People say it all the time. They say, man, that white boy is fast. Why does there have to be a disclaimer? Why does there have to be an adjective to describe the athlete? That white boy is fast? You know what that implies? That means that's rare to find a white boy that's fast. McCaffrey, if you guys watch football, the running back for San Francisco 49ers. That's why all the praise in the world is showered upon him. Because he's a Caucasian and he's running like a normal, like what he's doing, what black people who are riddled and filled with melanin would do, who have a higher degree of neuromelanin in their brains, which actually allows us to actually respond quicker and have faster responses and faster reflexes than a person who doesn't. This is science, folks. That's why black people have rhythm. We respond to beat, we respond to frequency because we have a higher rate of neuromelanin in our brains. It doesn't, I'm not saying that we're better than anybody. I'm just stating the facts. If you want to take it there, then you could take it there. I'm not taking it anywhere. I'm just telling you what it is. Neuromelanin, a lot of it increases your response time to things, reflexes. Now, it's not about skill. You know, having the skill to put a ball inside of a hole playing golf, that has nothing to do with eumelanin or neuromelanin. That has nothing to do with that. We're talking about athleticism, response time, quick twitch fibers, reptilian fight or flight, the ability to. Why do you think Michael Jordan is held as being the best basketball player to ever live? And if you don't think it's Michael Jordan, the next black guy is LeBron James. Why? We jump higher, we run faster, we respond quicker. It is what it is. It's science. That's why when a white guy wins the dunking contest, it's like, oh my God, a white guy won. It's rare. We don't take the rare occasion and use the rare occasion as the general rule. That's the exception to the rule. Of course, you're going to have outliers occasionally, but generally speaking, melanated people with a higher degree of neuromelanin in their brains are likely to be more athletic than those who have less in their brain. It's a brain thing. Okay? It's a brain thing. Hold on here. I got a call coming in. Hold on. Hello? Yeah. I put it underneath the rug already. Yeah. I'm doing a lecture right now, but I put it underneath the rug. Not text him. I told him that it's underneath the rug. Yeah. All right. Bye. Okay. All right. So next we have allomelanin. All right. And let me go back to neuromelanin for a second. I want to share something else with you guys so that you guys understand. The way to activate your neuromelanin is to stay in the sun more and sun gaze more. You say, what the hell, sun gaze? The doctor said that looking at the sun is bad for your iris. It's bad for your eye. You're going blind. Don't look at the sun. The sun is dangerous. No, the sun is not dangerous. It's dangerous to them. It's dangerous to them. Sun gaze. Our ancestors did that. We're one with nature. The same sun, the same photons that infuses and emits energy into the microbiome of the soil that enriches the plants. Then when you eat those plants, you're energized and healed. That same sun that gave you the nutritional foods is the same sun that, if you look at it, would actually nourish your brain. It actually stimulates your neuromelanin. Why do you think when some people are going through mental problems or they're in their mental states of varying degrees of challenges, they tell people to get sun because it stabilizes you. It puts you back in equilibrium. It increases your melatonin, it increases your serotonin, and it keeps you balanced. Most people who are suffering depression, they always tell people to get the sun. They just tell people to get the sun. Just get the sun on their epidermis. How much more, black man, black woman, will you benefit from it if you open up your brown and black eyes and looked at that sun and sun gazed? Yeah, I know it's going to hurt your eyes a little bit. It's normal. Keep looking at it. Keep looking at it. Keep looking at it. Start with 5 minutes. Keep looking at it. Close your eyes for 10 seconds. Open your eyes and look at it for 10 seconds. Close your eyes for 10 seconds. You have to train your eyes to do so because this is not something that we've been doing since birth. I can sun gaze for a long time. I could sun gaze for an hour because I do it. I'm not blind. They scare you away from things that are good for you. So if you want to activate your neuromelanin, it's scientifically proven that the retina, the eyes, the iris, when you look at the sun, the UV, the ultraviolet rays penetrates the iris, and you're 40% more likely to receive the benefits of the UV rays when you look at the sun because it penetrates the brain, it goes into the midbrain, and it goes into the third and fourth ventricle. You see here, the fourth ventricle and the third ventricle, this is where neuromelanin is stimulated here. This section, that green and blue section there, that's where the neuromelanin is activated by the sun. By the sun, the same sun they tell you to run away from, the same sun that Bill Gates and modern people who love to use technology to attack nature, the same people that are trying to create technology to block the sun because they want to keep the planet cooler because of global warming. But that's a whole other subject for another day. All right. It's not about global warming. It's about blocking the sun to block the sun from the melanated gods of the planet. That's what that's for. That's what that's for. Okay, moving along here. The next type of melanin is allomelanin. Allomelanin. This is the type of melanin that's is a class of nitrogen-free melanin often found in fungi. All right, it's found in fungi. It's found in animals. It's found in plants. It's found in protists, fungi, bacteria, and archaea. All right, this type of pigment is found in a whole range of organisms, including fungi, bacteria, plants, and animals. Unlike the more commonly known eumelanin and pheomelanin found in humans. So allomelanin is different. That's why it says here, it says, unlike the more commonly known eumelanin and pheomelanin. So the most commonly known forms of melanin are eumelanin because you can actually see it on people, black or brown people. And then you have the pheomelanin with the PH, pheomelanin. That's the white people, the Caucasians, those with lighter skin tones. Those are the common ones. Allomelanin is a little bit different because it's not so much predicated on the skin of humans, but it's more so seen on animals and plants, fungi and bacteria. All right, but it's still all connected. Why is it all connected? I'm gonna give you a second to think about that. Why is this all connected? What stimulates fungus? What stimulates the growth of plants? Photosynthesis. What's photosynthesis? Energy that comes from the sun, right? Creates photons that energizes the microbiome in the soil, which helps to germinate the seed, which helps to help the plant grow and produce and yield fruit. So these organisms, the animals, the plants, the fungi, the bacteria, and all that stuff, they have allomelanin. So that's just to let you know that melanin is a central component, is a quintessential component of life. It's not, oh, certain things have melanin and certain things don't. Everything has a form of melanin. They're just different types of it. So it's also great and good that you eat plants that have a high degree of melanin in them because it feeds your microbiome. It feeds the gut. Now, I gave a lecture on that. You guys should look at that. It's called, I think I titled it Microbiome, the Gut. Do you have the guts to live or have the guts to die or something like that? You can look that up on my channel. On one of my lectures, I talked about that. All right. So it's all connected. That's the point that I'm trying to make, that melanin is a part of life. And those who are walking this planet who have the highest degree of it is us. The same melanin that people have marginalized for years. The same melanin that we grow up being brainwashed to believe that it's something that's ugly. Every cartoon is riddled and inundated with white people. Every show, white people. Every item has a white person on it. Television is riddled with nothing but white people. And of course, they give us a little token month. Oh, Black History Month. And they show little black shows and they clip it. And the rest of the year is nothing but white, 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 white. We are whitewashed. They're whitewashing the darkness. The darkness is what's more important because there will be no light without darkness. Light wouldn't even make sense if darkness never existed. And as a matter of fact, if you ask me what came first, it was the darkness that came first. People say, come to the light. No, you come to the dark. You come to the dark. I know dark is synonymous with evil because we've been brainwashed that way by the Europeans. Oh, he's dark. He has a dark mind. Oh, come to the light. Come to the white light. Your white savior. Everything white is attached to something that's blessed, that's pretty, that's pure. And things that are dark are looked upon as evil. That's by design, folks. That's a social construct that's by design to play up on the minds of our people to make us believe that having a darker pigment means that you're somewhat removed from something that's pure. No, I would say the reverse is true. The further away you are from darker pigment, the less pure you are. That's not conjecture. That's not aesthetics. That's what the science says. That's not the way it looks. That's what the science says. Just like they say, what glitters is not always gold. I could give you candy all day. It tastes good, but it's killing you. I can give you medicine that's bitter, but it's healing you. Yes, I know the darkness doesn't look good. It doesn't look good all the time because they brainwash us to make us believe that darkness is ugly and that being bright and light and white is pretty and beautiful. But I'll tell you what, the science doesn't say that. The science says the darker you are, the better. So unlike the more commonly known eumelanin and pheomelanin found in humans, because eumelanin and pheomelanin is found in humans, allomelanin possesses the unique structural and chemical properties. These unique structural and chemical properties are found in plants, fungi, and bacteria. But little do you know, we also have bacteria in us. So it's very beneficial for us to ingest some of these plants that have those qualities in them. Because as you respect nature, there's a symbiotic relationship, a synergistic relationship between nature and man. Nature and man. We don't exclude nature, we invite it in. And as we invite nature in, nature invites us back into itself, and we become one, and we're moving with harmony. But something that the European doesn't understand, they have a very stagnant, a very static way of viewing of nature. They view nature as the enemy, which is why they're constantly attacking it. And that's why we're constantly being attacked, because we are the human beings on this planet that are most closely to nature, because we come from nature. The sun says so, not literary pharaoh. The sun says so. All right. The next kind of melanin, you have pyomelanin. Pyomelanin. All right. This is an extracellular red-brown pigment produced by several bacterial and fungal species. All right. Pyomelanin, this pigment is derived from tyrosine catabolism, by the tyrosine catabolism pathway, and contributes to increased oxidative stress resistance. So this is the kind of pyomelanin that's mostly found with people who have high degree of eumelanin. Eumelanin and pyomelanin are connected. You say why? Because the reason I just told you, because oxidative stress is something that causes premature aging. Out of white people and black people, who looks like they age the fastest? Exactly. White people look like they age the fastest. They wrinkle. You ever heard the term black doesn't crack? We don't crack because of the high degree of melanin content on our skin. The UV rays doesn't damage our skin the way it damages them. So because it contributes to increased oxidative stress resistance, oxidative stress causes premature aging. Oxidative stress resistance means that you're resisting the oxidative stress. You're pushing it away. So if it increases oxidative stress resistance, it's a good thing. So if oxidative stress is resisted, it means that you are going to age gracefully. Now, that means that you have to be doing your best to make sure that you're living a healthy lifestyle. It doesn't mean you can go out there and do drugs, eat McDonald's every day, Popeye's chicken, Jack in the Box, Whataburger, sodas, monster drinks, sugar drinks, fried chicken. I mean, the whole nine, the whole things that we like to bombard our bodies with. You can't live like that and expect not to crack. Something has to give. But I tell you what, if you have a good diet and you exercise, you will age gracefully. That's where the pyomelanin comes into play, because it's an extracellular red-brown pigment produced by several bacterial and fungal species. Remember, the fungal species, going back to the other one, that's why allomelanin is important. This is why certain things that you eat, certain plants that you eat, have a high degree of allomelanin in them, which then increases the pyomelanin in your body. And if that's increased, it also increases oxidative stress resistance, which also allows you to age well. But we have this naturally in us. But there are things that we can do to increase it as well, because there are things around us that are being done to us by the spraying of chemicals in the air, by the toxic foods we eat, by the processed foods we eat, by the pollution that's all around us. It hinders our pyomelanin to a degree. So we also need to do things to combat that. Okay? So that's pyomelanin. All right. So where is melanin produced? Where is it produced? Okay. We just talked about the types of melanin. All right. So let's do a review. What are the types of melanin? Let me see. Can you guys remember? All right. Can you guys remember? What are they? Okay. I'm not saying them. I know what they are, but if this was a popular YouTube channel and I had a bunch of people, chatting, that's what I would do. I would ask you a question and I'll give you guys time to answer. What are the types of melanin? And you guys will answer them. All right. Okay. All right. So now next, where is melanin produced? Where is it produced? It's produced in the hair. It's produced in the hair. Okay. It manifests itself in hair. It's produced by melanocytes inside the cells of the body. We understand that. Remember, initially I said it starts from within, then it comes on the out. So you can see it manifest itself in hair, as you can see here in the hair. So, question, class: will this girl, would you say she has eumelanin or pheomelanin based upon her phenotypes? And when I say phenotypes, it means her physical features, the color of her hair, the color of her eyes, the color of her skin. Would she have pheomelanin or eumelanin? All right, I know the answer, but I'm asking you guys. And if this was a popular YouTube channel, I would have people answering in the chat. They would answer. Okay, so that's the question: does she have eumelanin or pheomelanin? All right. Next, you're going to now. This is all going back to where is melanin produced? Where is melanin produced? It's produced in the innermost layer of the skin. What's the innermost layer of the skin, class? Remember, I talked about it earlier. The epidermis is not the innermost layer. That's the top layer. Remember, I said that the dermis was the middle layer. The hypodermis is the most inner layer. So what's the most inner layer of the skin? Good, hypodermis. Good job, class. Good job, class. Hypodermis. Now, where do you think most of the cellular activity with melanocytes occurs? Do you think it happens more on the epidermis, the dermis, or the hypodermis? Class answers hypodermis. Why? Because it's more closely, in terms of its location is closer to the melanocytes that are produced inside the inner layer of the skin. So this is where it's produced. So the outer layer, the outside, the hair that grows on the outside of the epidermis, it's just, especially when you're talking about the color of it is just a manifestation of what's going on in the inside of the hypodermis. The hypodermis is what's going on in the inside. You don't see the inside until you see it on the outside, but the outside is an indication of what's going on in the inside. You get it? Good, good. So this is where it's produced. It's produced in the inside, but it's made manifest and evident on the outside. So with this girl that you see in the last one about hair, this hair is just a manifestation of what's going on in the inside of her scalp. The epidermis is her scalp. All right. The hair is what's coming out of the epidermis, outside the outer layer. The dermis and the hypodermis were doing the work. And then her black hair coming out lets you know what she has in the inside of her. She has a high degree of melanocytes that produce eumelanin, which brings out the black hue of hair that you see here in this picture. Okay, moving along. Where is melanin produced? It's produced in the eyes, the pupils, and the iris. Now you look at this picture here with this with the person with this blue eyes right here, the blue iris. All right. This is also called the subcutaneous fascia. All right. And I know this looks pretty, but this is a genetic defect. The blue iris is a genetic defect. This is where melanin is also produced. Okay. This is where melanin is produced in the pupils and the iris. And you could create more melanin by gazing at the sun. But this person, I would say, don't do it, because the blue iris that you have it could blind this person. You know how they used to tell you when you wear a black shirt, it attracts heat? Yeah, having brown black eyes attracts the UV rays, but it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing, especially for your midbrain. I talked about that earlier, especially for your neuromelanin. All right. Now, this is where the question is, where is melanin produced? It's produced in the substantia nigra and the locus coeruleus. These are the areas of your brain. The areas of your brain. All right. Now, the substantia nigra is a midbrain dopaminergic nucleus, which has a critical role of modulating motor movement and reward functions as part of the basal ganglia circuitry. I know it's a bunch of loaded words, and I'm going to look those up, okay? I can't remember what they meant. The other ones I did, but I can't remember. So we're going to look this all up together as a class, okay? The substantia nigra is a midbrain dopaminergic nucleus. So I'm going to look up what the word dopaminergic means. Dopaminergic. Dopaminergic. All right? It's a dopaminergic nucleus, which has critical role of modulating motor movement. Okay, so no, I don't need to look it up because it's okay. The dopaminergic nucleus, which has a critical role in modulating motor movement and reward functions. No, I don't need to look it up because it tells you the definition within the sentence. Context clues when I was in school. So that's what it is. It modulates motor movement and reward functions as part of the basal ganglia circuitry. What happens in the substantia nigra? All right, you see the locus coeruleus right here. All right. That's going back to that third, fourth ventricle of the brain. This is where it's closely related to that neuromelanin area. The reason why most of our Black people don't respond well in regards to functions, in regard to reward functions, is because when our third, fourth ventricle of our brain has been dumbed down by the toxic foods and toxic medicines and toxic brainwashing and toxic visions that are told by the television, when we lack sunlight in the brain, when we continue to eat the European diet, and we start to imbibe and believe in this European created deity that we call God, it makes us very subservient for a reward that doesn't make sense. We are subservient to a reward that doesn't make sense. We are waiting for a savior to save us, where the saving of ourselves is based upon the knowledge we have or don't have. It's not about anybody externally coming to save us. It's about us saving our damn selves. So this this perverted view of reward functions, and this is what scientists know about us more than we know about ourselves. They attack us chemically. If you can attack the reward functions of the brain and movement, you can make a bunch of Black people do what you want them to do. Remember, we're rhythmic people. We are electrically charged people. We're rhythmic people, and we move by rhythms. And if you can thwart anything that's rhythmic by injecting it with false chemicals and toxic chemicals, and you can thwart the rhythmic flow of that entity, of that being. You can offset it because it was very sensitive. The high degree of melanin that we have allows us to be more susceptible to synthetics, meaning that the purer we are, the more vulnerable we are, which means that the purer we are, we really need to be circumspect about what we put in our bodies, what we eat, what we watch. We need to exercise. We need to get more of the sun, etc. But we don't do those things. We want to live like them. We want to live like the people who have pheomelanin. And then we wonder why we're not operating at our optimal capacity. Don't give me this idea that, growing up, what was the saying when we were growing up in schools? People would say, oh, the white kids and the Asian kids are smart and the Black kids are just dumb. That's not true. If we're physically, according to the brain, if we're just studying the brain parts, and studying how everything functions off of rhythm in terms of the sun, if we operated and lived or pushed to live in a more pristine, or live to push and live a more pristine lifestyle, our intelligence would exceed every other race's intelligence. Is because we're trying to live outside of the way we were scientifically made to live. We're trying to live like them. You don't see a turtle trying to live like a lion. You don't see a lion trying to live like a turtle. You live the way you're biogenetically wired to live, and you allow the nature around you to accentuate your inner molecular structure to allow you to operate at your highest level. But if you don't do that, you're going to be always subpar, sub-average. I don't care about how they operate. I care about how my people operate. And we need to focus more on us and stop worrying about the way they live and start worrying about the way we live. All right. So the substantia nigra, all right, this is where it is in the locus coeruleus. It's around this area, the locus coeruleus. That's where the substantia nigra is. And this is around that third, fourth ventricle of the brain that's connected. That this is where the neuromelanin is activated in this area here that you see my mouse going around in circles. Okay. All right. All right. Where is melanin produced? It's produced in the medulla and zona reticularis. You say, what is the medulla and reticularis? Well, the adrenal medulla is located inside the adrenal cortex. The adrenal cortex, you see the picture here, it's enlarged. It's very small. All right. The adrenal cortex is very small. This blue area here that's highlighted in blue, they pretty much magnified it. So when you see the abbreviation of ACTH, this stands for adrenocorticotrophic hormone. That's what it stands for, adrenocorticotrophic hormone. And this hormone here is where melanin is also produced. So as you can see from all these illustrations that I'm showing you guys, melanin is not just something that's outward. It goes all the way in to the essence of our being. It's in the fibers of our being. So much so that we're connected with melanin, as we should be connected to the sun, because the sun is what accentuates the melanin. Everything that grows underneath the sun is stimulated by the sun, and we call that nature. Then the people with the highest grade of melanin is us. So who do you think is more aligned with nature? Us or the European? Thank you. We are. Who attacks nature the most? Yeah, the European. All right. So the medulla and the zona reticularis, it's inside that midbrain there. All right, the anterior pituitary gland. This is around where the pineal. It's around the area of the pineal gland, and this is what allows us to have this this higher state of consciousness, the ability to ascend this third dimensional realm, and the ability to kind of be more spiritual. Spiritual is not about reading your damn Bible and quoting scripture. That's staticity. What do they call it? Static. That's I can't pronounce it. Staticity, not staticity, but staticness. That's being static. That's that linear stuff I talked about earlier. Staticity. It's just look at the book, memorize the book. That's what it says. That's not spirituality, folks. That's memorization. Spirituality is inside. It's internal. This is what they call spirit science. This is what our ancestors deemed to be. They called it spirit science. Spirit science is the spiritual manifestation of the things that are not seen. Is the scientific part. I mean, the scientific part is the things that are seen. The things that are not seen is the spiritual part. But if you merge spirit and science together, you have spirit science. And everything that's spiritual, it's scientific. And everything that's scientific, it's spiritual. It has nothing to do about reading the book and quoting damn scriptures. Right here is where your spirit lies. The pineal gland. The ability to have intuition, the ability to connect to your higher self, the higher state of consciousness, to connect with the cosmos, to connect with nature. This is where melanin is all created. But we don't get the sun, man. We run from it. All right. Where is melanin produced? It's produced in the ear area, the stria vascularis of your cochlear duct. This is the part of the inner ear. So as you can see in this illustration here, you have the outer ear right there. Okay, that's the outer ear. Then if you go inside, you see the inner ear. You see what it has a little black box. Now that black box magnifies what's inside. See the blue, this blue hue, this blue color here? the stria vascularis and the cochlear duct. This is the cochlear duct. You see how deeply you have to go inside the human body to see where melanin is produced? It's inward. So most of our spirituality, most of the things we should be worrying about are the things that are inside. It's not what comes out of a man, it's what's inside of a man that tells you if he's pure or not. All right? So we need to start eating right, getting more of the sun to stimulate these things that we have naturally. Because melanin is a superpower. Superpower. It's in your inner ear. All right? All right. So next, we're going to talk about the significance of melanin. Why is the melanin so important? I've kind of talked about some of them as I've gone through this video and kind of named certain points about why certain things are important, but we're going to talk about why the significance of melanin. Lack of melanin in the form of neuromelanin, like I talked about earlier, in the brain leads to Parkinson's disease. Okay. So people who are not getting enough sun, when you get older, there's a high degree that you're going to have Parkinson's disease. Accompanied with all the bad toxic foods you've been eating all your life. Because none of my ancestors in Nigeria have Parkinson's or have cancer. They don't have those things. Don't exist over there because they don't eat the way we eat here. They don't stress the same way we stress here. All right. They don't get prescription medicines from the allopathic means of medicine as we do here in the West. They believe in ethnomedicine, which is medicine by using the plants and herbs to treat people. All right. If eating got you sick, you could eat your way out of sickness as well by switching your food content. All right. Melanin provides pigmentation to your skin. All right. That's why it's important. Eyes and hair. And the pigment to your skin protects your skin from UV rays. All right. But it protects and it also enhances. So it's a dual function. It protects because the color of it protects, it absorbs, and allows your dermis and your hypodermis to absorb the UV rays in a way that accentuates the biochemical structures of the body. All right. Melanin provides pigmentation to your skin, eyes, and hair. The substance also absorbs harmful UVs, like I just said, rays, and protects your cells from the sun damage. People with pheomelanin, they can't have that protection from the sun. Their cells get damaged, hence they get a higher degree of oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is increased. They start to age faster than us, which is why they have to get all these Botox injections and get lip fillers and tighten their skin because their skin starts to literally fall off the bone. Ours stays intact because we have pyomelanin and eumelanin at a higher degree than they do. That's the science, folks. That's the science. That's not racism. That's just the science. If you think it's racist, then contend with the science. Don't contend with me. Why is melanin significant? Protection from UV rays. I already said that. Melanin protects your skin by absorbing harmful rays, including UVA, ultraviolet rays, UVB, and UVC, and blue light. All right. The next kind of UV rays is X-ray. That's the highest form, and I don't think our melanin can protect us from X-ray. But I know that it can protect us from UVA, UVB, and UVC. The higher you go with UVA, UVB, UVC, the hotter the ultraviolet light is, the higher the heat is. And I think blue light is also what direct energy weapons use. That blue light technology that they use to destroy Maui, the blue light technology that they're using to destroy different parts of the country, and they say it's a natural disaster. They use blue light technology, which is why things that are blue on the surface don't get impacted by the blue light technology. It skips over things that are blue in color, which is weird, but that's the way blue light technology works. But that's a whole nother subject for another day. But just do know that the significance of melanin, it does protect it from UVA, UVB, and UVC rays. So the higher, no one is over 100 degrees outside and people are like, oh my God, this sun is killing me. Yeah, it's not going to kill you. You'll be fine. Take off your shirt and just sit in the sun. You'll be fine. If you eat properly and you drink a lot of water and you get a lot of sleep and you exercise, you can stand the heat of the sun. But because you eat like the European, you become more linked and like them, then you end up hating the sun like they hate the sun. See, they have a reason to hate the sun because it hurts them, but it's starting to hurt us because we eat like them. The difference is the diet. You change the diet, then you actually start to like nature more. You become akin to nature. You start to taking a liking to it. You don't hate it anymore. All right. The significance of melanin. Okay. Again, so powerful, it has been categorically seen as evil by our controllers. If melanin was not significant, if melanin was not something that was important, why would the world view melanin as something that's evil by the controllers. You say, how do they see it as evil? I'll explain later. Just stay with me. I'll explain later. The average melanated or black person is worth $40 million due to their high grade of melanin. We possess the most of that. We possess the most. All right. We possess the most potent form of it. Melanin is much more valuable than gold. All right. A gram of melanin is valued between $450 and $550 per gram. All right. Melanin is worth more than, I said God, it's a typo there. I meant to say worth more than gold, silver, platinum, palladium, and rhodium combined. And this to let you know that this is not copy and paste, because I make errors. This is me putting in the work to create these PowerPoints. So I do have a typo there. I put melanin is worth more than God, but I meant to say melanin is worth more than gold, silver, platinum, palladium, and rhodium combined. Synthetic melanin is a whole lot less potent. So let's do the math here. It says that an average black person is worth about $40 million. We have about $40 million worth of melanin on our body. So let me see here if I can do the math here. Okay, I'm gonna go to my so a gram. I want you guys to walk with me here. So when I pull things out, you guys can see that it's not because that I'm smart, it's because I'm just looking things up like you guys can. Okay, so I'm gonna Aaron. All right, I'm gonna go to the internet. Okay, let me share. Share my screen. Okay, here. So how much is 1 gram? Okay, so you guys can see my screen, right? So 1 gram is equal to 0.0022046 pounds. So 1 gram is nowhere close to a pound. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this number here. I'm going to highlight this number. Well, let me see here if I can. I'm going to copy it. Okay, I'm going to copy it. So for an example, let's say the average person weighs about 180 pounds, right? Because I want to see if this math is true. Okay, so I'm going to go to my calculator here. If I could, where's my calculator? You know what? I'm going to just go to the Google calculator here. Calculator. Okay, so remember that number that I had? I'm going to. It's not pasting. Hold on here. Let me go back. How much is 1 gram? 0.022. I'm writing that on my phone so I don't remember, because I'm not used to using Macs. I'm used to using my normal PC. I'm not. 220462. Okay. So I'm going to go to my calculator. All right. So let's say the average person is 180 pounds. All right. We know some people are bigger than that. We know some people are smaller than that. This is say 180. So we're going to take 180. All right. Times, because remember, per gram, a gram is not equal to a full pound. It's equal to 0. Whatever. So I'm going to take 180 pounds, multiply that by that number that they told us about what 1 gram equates to. So 180 times 0.000220462 equals, look at that, 39 point something. They're right. That's about 40. Yeah. That's like 30. If you broke this down into whole numbers, excluding that decimal, this would be 39,683,160. So when they say we're worth about 40 million, they're absolutely right. Some people are bigger than 180 pounds. So if you multiply, so for an example, a 180 pound person would have 81,646 grams worth of melanin, which equates to about 40 million. Because if you take 81,646, and you multiply that times 450. Because remember, let me go back to the PowerPoint. 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 That a gram of melanin is valued between 450 and 550. 450 and 550. So 1 gram is equal to that much. So a person who weighs 180 pound person would have about, yeah, the math is right. The math is right. Math is right. Let me double check again. So for a 180 pound person would have, so 180, 180 pound person times, yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. Another significance of melanin is that the United States Army, all right, the Navy and other branches as well are interested in using melanin for military applications. So melanin is not just something that helps the human body. The component of melanin is so powerful that they're trying to use it for military applications. Who knows what type of technology they can harness with this component of melanin? All right. So many of our people go missing due to this reason. A lot of our people go missing because of this. We don't know what they're doing. Do you know right now, as I'm speaking right now, there are over 180 underground laboratories in America, 180 underground tunnels. You're like, why? Well, they're going to tell you it's because of military defense and for your own protection. It's not because of that. They're running all sorts of experiments underneath there to try to find out this component of melanin. How can we use it for our weapon? It's like the superpower of us, but we don't view it that way. We marginalize ourselves because we've allowed the brainwash to make us feel like we are the inferior ones. We're far from that. We're far from that. Okay? We are far from it. All right, so in summary here, melanin is not a curse. So it's a misnomer to categorize people of darker skin hue as cursed. How can we be cursed when the higher degree of melanin that you have, the stronger you are, the faster you are, the more connected to nature you are? So how is that a curse? You see how they've inversed everything? Even the Bible tells you that the darker skin race was cursed by God. You see how they brainwash you to make you believe that you were meant to be a slave, that you were meant to be oppressed? We are more blessed than any other race. The artificial elements of our existence hinders us from operating at a highest capacity, our highest capacity. Artificial elements. What do I mean by artificial elements? This artificiality surrounding us every day. We're not living rhythmically. We don't eat right. We don't sleep right. We don't view things right. The culture is counterintuitive to our evolution. It's counterintuitive to our essence, meaning that the way the culture is directly a combatant to the way we're supposed to live rhythmically. The way we think of love, the way we eat, the way we sleep, everything that we do is based upon the Eurocentric ideal, which is far from the rhythmic Afrocentric ideal. All right, there's a conflict there, and we're the ones that are falling prey to it. It's to our detriment, not to theirs, because they're living the way they're supposed to live. We're trying to live like them. The low vibrational frequency of fear is a weapon used against our biochemical construct. So fear that, oh, you better go to school or you're not going to graduate. You're going to be a dummy in life. You're not going to grow up to be anything. That's fear. When you raise your kids that way, that's not good. If you look up Hawkins scale, if you look up Hawkins consciousness scale, as a matter of fact, I'm going to pull that up right now so you guys can see it. If you look up Hawkins consciousness scale, you're going to see where the element of fear, where it resides. You're going to see where it resides. All right. I'm going to pull it up right now so you guys can see it. So when I'm talking it, you guys don't say I'm just baking stuff up. Hawkins consciousness scale. And I'm going to share my screen here in a minute. Hold on. Give me a second. There it goes. There it goes. All right. Let me share my screen here. All right. Look at this. Look at this. Let me go here. Look at this. Can you guys see my screen? You guys can't see it? Let me stop sharing. Hold on. It's not sharing it the way I want it to be shared. I want you guys to see the full screen. I think that should be it. No, that's not it. Yeah, there it goes right there. Okay. You see this? You see this inverted pyramid? It's inverted because it's upside down, right? It's inverted. It's not standing up the correct way. Look at the different dimensions that exist in a state of consciousness. There are also different dimensions that exist in our reality. It's not just Earth and that's it. It's not about Earth and the planets in our universe. There are multiverses or multi-dimensions. Okay, so look at the on the right side here where my mouse is. You see the term. You see shame. How many of us live in shame? Guess what location you are when you have shame as part of your daily life and daily routine? You're in hell. You're in the consciousness of hell. This is called Hawkins consciousness scale. All right. When you're always in shame, you're in hell. Your Bible tells you to feel ashamed of your sin. It tells you to be ashamed of yourself because you're a born sinner and you need a savior. You're in a constant state of shame. You're always thinking about your sin. You're always thinking about your downfall. You are in hell from a book that's telling you about heaven, but it's putting you in a conscious state of hell. Then let's talk about guilt. You feel guilty. You're supposed to feel guilty. You feel guilty because you need to feel guilty to feel that you need a savior. But they also teach you don't feel guilty because this God has taken away all your sins. So therefore, you somehow, you're supposed to love him because he took away your sins, but somehow you still have that guilt because you know it's your sin and your debauchery that put him on the cross. So how can you separate the two? Oh, you're not supposed to have guilt, just have love. It can't happen because you're always told that it's your sin that put this sinless savior on the cross. You're in a state of hell. Next, apathy. You know what apathy means? It's a fancy word for being indifferent, meaning that you don't care. Apathy. Many of us have that today. We don't care about truth. We don't care about researching anything. We just take what's given to us. We have, whatever it is what it is. Or when I talk to people about diet, you know what they tell me? Well, we all gonna die anyway. That's apathy. You're in hell, which is why you're gonna stay in hell. You're gonna stay sick. You're gonna live a very ugly. You're in hell. Apathy, grief. We have this idea that people die and pass away rather than saying they transitioned. I had to change my language. When my dad transitioned or when he died, I had to learn how to change my language and say, no, he's not dead. Energy doesn't die. He just transitioned. He's not here in this reality. So it gives me a better sense. I'm not grieving his death. I'm just, hey, he's not here anymore. He transitioned. So it's a different way of looking at things. So those are all hell constructs that we're all made to live by. And then, of course, you have fear. So you have fear, grief, apathy, guilt, and shame. Now, tell me that's not the way most of us live in this reality. Tell me that's not the way that most of us live in this reality. Hello? Hey, you gotta watch this. I already probably go in the refrigerator to get that little fruit. That veggie thing. Okay, I'm almost done. I'm about to go out there. All right. Yeah, so those are all hell. Fear, grief, apathy, guilt, shame. Am I lying? That's where we live. Then you have the third dimension, which is more about pride, anger, and this is where the most people live. But you have people who are actually miserable. They live in this hellish state of fear, grief, apathy, guilt, and shame. Most religious people are in here, and religion is supposed to be a religion of peace, not a religion of hell. Then you have desire, anger, pride, and then you have courage in the third dimension, and so on and so forth as you go up. But the point of me showing, I'm almost done. The point of me showing this consciousness scale is to show you where we are at and how they use this as a way to hinder our abilities to live to our higher selves, along with the toxic foods that they're giving us. Okay, so let me stop sharing here and get back to my PowerPoint here. All right, so the artificial elements of our existence hinders us from operating at our highest capacity. The low vibrational frequency of fear. I just told you it's a low vibrational frequency because if you look at that, guys, let me finish. Yeah, you can take this. Here, go. If you look at that inverted pyramid, all right, the lowest vibrational output is at the bottom. We're vibrating very low. Okay? Our high grade of melanin allows us to absorb the sun's rays in ways that other less melanated races can't. All right, I meant to say can't, but I put can. That's another typo that I had. Hold on, I'm almost done, guys. Okay, y'all go and wait for me out there. I'm almost done. I'm almost done. Yeah, come on. I'm here. I know. I'm gonna give it to you. All right. Hold on, guys. Hold on for a second. I'll be out in a second, guys. Let me finish this. I'll be out. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Daddy duties, man. Y'all know how it is with kids. Okay, so we are the supermen of this planet. All right. I want to show you this quick video that I pulled up about Superman. Of course, every Superman movie we watch, they're always using the Caucasian to play Superman. But the real Supermen of the planet are the melanated people that have a higher grade of melanin in their skin and a higher grade of neuromelanin in their brain. That's us. We are the Superman because we have that superpower in us that the military themselves are trying to find ways to take that component and use it for military, use it as a weapon. All right, they're trying to use that as a weapon. There's something strong about that, and we don't even know as much as we're supposed to know about it. And one more fact before I show you guys this video: do you know that any medicine that you take, its impact on melanin is going to tell you its effect? Is going to give you the effects of the medicine, whether the effect of the medicine is a good effect or a bad effect. So I'll give you an example. Any medicine that you take that hinders your melanin is bad. Any medicine that you take that increases your melanin is good. Any medicine that you take that impacts melanin in a negative way, that's a bad medicine. And most medicines that are dispensed through the pharmaceutical industry hurts melanin. So most medicines on the market are not good for you. I just wanted to add that as an extra in there for you. That melanin is the standard. And we people of brown and black skin have the highest degree of that. We are the standard. Don't ever forget that. Teach your kids that. Stop allowing your kids to be brainwashed by this Eurocentric stuff. So I'm going to pull up this video. It's Superman and Lois. I want you to watch it and pay attention to what's said, and let you guys know how they insert truths in Hollywood and insert. Every time I watch movies, there's always a little bit of nuggets of truths that are said that I pick up on, and I want you guys to see this and tell me what you guys think. Okay. Plays. Let me play it. Give me a second. Okay, let me share my screen here because obviously it didn't up. Okay. Give me a second. I'm getting better at this, man. I'm getting better. Bear with me. Have patience with me. Patience. Okay. Okay, I want you to watch this scene.
Lessons about who you really are and why you were sent here.
Sent here from where?
This is a place where you can learn away from the prying eyes of the world. Lessons about who you really are and why you were sent here.
Sent here from
You were born on the planet. Your true name is Kal, the last son from the House of El.
Why am I so different?
The Earth's sun, your cells, absorb its radiation in ways humans cannot.
Okay, you heard that? The sun, your cells absorbs the sun in ways that other humans cannot. So not only are we more extraterrestrial than human, we are more linked to the cosmos than the humans on this planet. So we are actually unhuman. We're actually more alien than human because the way we absorb the sun is far different from the way other races absorb the sun. I'm going to replay that again. I want you guys to listen closely. I'm going to turn up the volume a little bit so you guys can hear it clearly.
You were sent here.
Sent here from where?
You were born on the planet Krypton. Your true name is Ka, the last son from the House of El.
Why am I so different?
The Earth's sun, your cells, absorb its radiation in ways humans cannot, creating nearly endless energy. Your skin, bones, muscles, all capable of unimaginable power. Over time, I will teach you how to use that power, that speed, that strength. You will learn to do things you never thought possible on this earth.
Okay, I'm going to stop there. All right. I'm going to stop there. You heard what he said. I just find it ironic that they like to use pale skin people with melanin to talk about Superman. They would never create a Superman that has black skin or that has a high degree or high grade of melanin and a high degree of neuromelanin in their brain, located in the third, fourth ventricle of the brain. They're not going to do that. This is a subtle attack on us. They use white people to play the Superman. We are the Superman of the planet because we scientifically absorb the sun. Our cells absorbs the sun differently than anybody else. And it does energize us. What did I tell you earlier about athletes? The best athletes, I'm not talking about skill or the ability to shoot something far. I'm talking about raw athleticism, the running, the jumping, the small fiber twitch muscles, the quick twitch muscles that we have. It's all accentuated by the sun because we absorb it better. We are the Superman of the planet. So I want you guys to start looking at yourself in a higher light and stop looking down on yourselves. And even though you may not do it consciously, but we kind of do it subconsciously, people attach darkness with ugliness and evil, and they attach brightness and whiteness with things that they deem to be beautiful and this and that and whatever. That's what they do. That's what they do. Again, thank you guys for watching this video with me. I appreciate it. I went an hour. I went longer than I thought. When I did the review, when I did my preview with the lecture, it only took about 40 minutes. So I guess when I went live, I got too excited and went longer than I wanted to. So thank you guys for bearing with me. I know this is very long. You guys have better things to do than to sit around and hear some guy talk about melanin for an hour and 30 minutes. But I appreciate you guys giving me the time. Again, I'm not an expert on anything. I just wanted to look these things up and to give you guys information about things that you normally would not learn in school. They teach us that we're all equal, but we're not. There's something special about our melanated genes, and we need to embrace it and stop trying to be like the European and embrace who we are as Afrocentric minded people. All right. Thank you guys. All right. Bye. Till next time.